Well, thank you everyone for coming today. We are going to be learning something new. And not only are we going to be learning something new about origami, but we are going to be learning a specific kind of origami that's called modular origami. So with modular origami, I'm going to teach you how to fold this unit piece. And once you learn how to fold this unit piece, it becomes a building block that you can use to put together to make lots of different shapes. So this is going to be a fun class where we're going to focus on making a really cool box. What's nice about this paper box is that, well, there aren't a lot of supplies, just paper. You don't need anything else besides paper. But you can also use these boxes as little gift boxes, put some candy in it, put a couple little trinkets. Um, I've, I've seen students and people that I've taught this to before then start making several of these boxes and teaching themselves how to juggle too, because they also end up kind of looking like some of those beginning juggler balls. But we can make these lots of different sizes. We can make nesting boxes. And once you learn all about the modular origami and learn how to make this unit piece, you can also put them together to make other geometric shapes. This one is called a stellated octahedron, and I'll get into that. And this one is made using those same pieces over and over and over again. And this one is called a stellated icosahedron. So I used to be a math teacher. So I am going to throw in a little math jargon, but don't let that scare you. We're also going to have lots of fun with our paper folding. So this is really the only material that I have on the list for today is this nice origami paper. If you don't have any origami paper, you're just going to need to cut yourself some squares. I don't recommend starting with magazines because they're often too slippery, and when you're trying to put the pieces together, they sometimes slip out. In true origami, you are not supposed to use tape and you are not supposed to use scissors. So you could cheat if your papers are falling out and kind of put a little bit of double-sided tape or something in there to keep them. But true origami does not have tape or scissors involved. So let's switch over to my other camera and I'm going to show you a little bit more. So with this origami paper pack, it comes with 3 different sizes, so we can make 3 different size cubes, and we can kind of put them all together and kind of nest them inside of each other. There's other of this origami brand that is on an end cap at Michael's. So at the store that I like to shop at, it's right on the end of one of the aisles. There's a big assortment. So if you don't want the 3 different sizes, you can get even more of the same size. So you can get a larger stack of the same size square so that you don't have to do any prep work or anything like that. What we're going to do in class today is I'm going to show you how to fold this unit cell. And even if you struggle the first time, we're going to be making this 6 times. So definitely by the end of the 6th time that we're making this unit cell together, I feel like it's going to get body muscle memory. You're going to be able to do it in your sleep. You're going to wake up dreaming about it. And then once we have our 6, I'm going to show you how you can assemble them together to make these different shapes. So let's get started. I'm going to open up this package. And we do have 3 different size sheets inside of this package. And I'm going to be starting with the middle size, but you can start with whichever size you want to. And what's nice is that since you have all the 3 different options, you can kind of mix and match and do different sizes, like I mentioned before. So I'm going to flip through here and I'm going to pick out 6 pieces of paper that I like the colors together. I'm going to kind of flip through here. We got all kinds of really cool choices. 1, 2, 3, 4. I like this one. And maybe a green, right? This green. Yep. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got 6 different pieces of paper. And I hope that you have some size square that you can kind of work with. This one is about almost 6 inches square. So a lot of times when I'm doing origami, it's really nice to use this perfect origami paper because it's really easy to fold. I like that it has 2 sides. One side is colorful, one side is white. So it's easier for you to kind of follow along and see what I'm doing while I'm folding it. But again, if you don't have origami paper, if you have any other kind of paper, you're welcome to grab that and just cut yourself some squares. It is important that they are squares. So I happen to have a recollections paper pack. So if you want to pick out some different colors of scrapbook paper, the scrapbook paper is going to be a little thicker and a little harder to fold than the actual origami paper, but you can still make these shapes out of that paper, especially if you want to go for particular colors or particular themes. So I think I've talked long enough that everybody has kind of gotten themselves their paper square and we are ready to get started. So here we go. We have the one side of your paper that has a design on it, and you have the white side. So I want everybody to fold it over to the white side of the paper, and we're going to be folding our square directly in half to make a rectangle. So I'm going to line up the corners, and I'm definitely going to make a nice crease. And if I start going too fast, if you need me to show you something again, please let me know in the chat because this is kind of meant to go at your pace. So I have folded it in half, and I'm going to open that up. And now that I have that crease, I'm going to take the bottom and I'm going to match the bottom line to that center fold. And I'm going to take the top line and I'm going to match it to the center fold. So far what I did was I took the whole entire piece of square, folded it in half to make a rectangle, creased it, and then I had that center line, and I used that center line to fold. So now I have a rectangle that has this opening in the center. So it looks like, Deborah, you might want to check some of your Zoom sound settings so that you can be able to hear, check and make sure nothing's muted on your computer screen, and I think you'll be in business. Now that you have this, we're going to take the whole entire rectangle and we're going to fold the rectangle in half to make a square. Now we're only folding this rectangle in half to make a square in order to get another one of those creases down the center. So we folded both of those sides towards the center, and then I folded the whole rectangle in half in order to get another center crease. And now here is the only part that I think people sometimes get mixed up on. We are going to take the top right-hand corner and we're going to fold it down towards the center. Now, if you do this backwards and you fold it the other way, your pieces aren't all going to lock with one another. So this is kind of the only place that you can make a real big mistake. So take the top right corner and fold it down so that it lines up with that center fold and it lines up with the bottom fold. And now you have a trapezoid. Then we're going to take the bottom left corner and we're going to fold this up to the top. And now we have made a parallelogram. So you can imagine that when I was teaching math, that I would definitely go into all the different quadrilaterals and shapes and all their properties and really just dive into this. I will spare you some of that, but you can just imagine the kinds of things that I could teach you if I wanted to in my geometry class. So now that I have this lovely parallelogram, and I got that from taking the top right and folding it down, and the bottom left and folding it up, when I open up this parallelogram, now it's going to be a rectangle that has these white triangles kind of flipping out and hanging out next to, kind of just sticking out around my paper. We're going to take each one of these triangles that are flipping out and we are going to fold them backwards. So there we go. I just tucked this one, took the fold that was flying out so that the white part was showing, and I folded it backwards so that now you can't see it anymore. Now I'm going to take this triangle that's flipping out and I'm going to send it backwards and just reverse that fold. And now both of those white triangles are hidden. We're almost to the end of this already, believe it or not. I'm going to take the top right corner and I'm going to slide it down. So I'm kind of bending the paper a little bit, not folding it, but kind of bending the paper a little bit. And this triangle is going to tuck underneath this paper. So it's kind of like when you're closing up a cardboard box and how you tuck it underneath the other piece. So I'm taking the top right corner and I'm tucking it underneath this bottom part so that it's nice and tucked in. Then I'm going to take the bottom left corner and I'm going to tuck it in. And it's kind of giving you that cross, which is like how you close a cardboard box. There you go. And then here's our very last step. On this side, we have that cross. And on this side, when I flip it over, there isn't a cross. So you're going to flip it so that you don't see the cross. And then I'm going to take the long diagonal and I'm going to fold this corner along the center line and match it up to this bottom corner. And I'm going to take this long diagonal and this point, and I'm going to fold it up to meet the top and come along that center line. And let me know if that part is okay or if you need to see that again. Remember, this is on the side that doesn't have the cross, so flip your paper over and you're going to take the longest side and fold it towards that center diagonal. And you're going to take and fold towards the center diagonal. And now on one side, you should have a diamond that has this cross on it. And on the other side, you should have these two little pieces that flip up. That is it. That is all you need to know. This is the piece that we're going to be fitting together. So it looks like I'm going to show that last part one more time. Let me back up to the rectangle where I took my triangles and I tucked them in, the ones that were hanging out funny. Then I take the top right corner and I tuck it underneath. I take the bottom left corner and tuck it underneath. So now I have this closed up cardboard box kind of cross. And then I flip it over and take this corner, and this corner is going to come down to this bottom corner. And this corner is going to go up to the top corner. And that's how you have that. Yay, we have some other math teachers in here. I saw a question, but I think I missed it. Something about a crease. When you tucked, did you crease? Yeah, you can. Yep, when I tucked, I did kind of crease it down. All right, this is it. This is the one piece. So if you missed it the first time, or if you weren't quite ready yet, now we're going to do it 6 more times. So by the time we're done doing it, you're definitely going to get the hang of it. So I'm going to start again with another piece of paper. I'm going to flip to the white side. And the way that we started last time is we fold the square in half to make a rectangle. Rectangle. This is about 6 inches of my square, yes. All right, I open up back to my square. And then the next step is going to be to take the bottom and fold it up and take the top and fold it down. So I'm making a rectangle that's going to go towards that center crease. I think someone said, oh, I'm glad you're a fan of the Michael's classes. And I'm going to take the top and fold it down towards the center. So right now I have a rectangle that kind of has the slit in the middle. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this rectangle and fold it in half. And the reason why I'm folding it in half is just to make that center crease. So when I fold it in half, I'm going to go ahead and crease down that center line. Now I have my rectangle in half that has a center crease. This is the only part, again, that you can mess up. You have to take the top right corner or else the pieces are going to be backwards. So take the top right corner and fold it down towards the center. Take the bottom left corner and send it up towards the top. Now you have your parallelogram that has that slit in the middle. The next step is to open. And when you open, you should have triangles that are popping out at you. So we're going to take each one of those triangles and we are going to fold them backwards, tuck them in, fold them backwards. And now that you've done that, we're going to do our tucking. So we're going to take the top right corner and we're going to tuck it underneath here, fold it down. And Deb was asking, you can crease it here. That's great. Then you're going to take the bottom left and you're going to tuck it underneath what you already have. And you can do a nice crease. And the very last step is to flip over your paper, take the top diagonal down, take the other diagonal up, and voila, we have another unit piece. Now it's nice if you go ahead and take your unit pieces and start stacking them on top of each other. And that makes sure that you know that you folded them the correct way. If your pieces do not overlap and do not perfectly fit on top of each other, then you did that corner wrong and you might have accidentally done one of the pieces backwards. But you want every single piece of your modular geometric origami to be exactly the same. All right, let me know in the chat how you're doing, if you're getting it, or if you need to see something a little bit differently, let me know. And we're going to keep folding. I'm going to ask you questions as we go. So we're eventually going to fold 6 pieces together. So we're going to be doing the same thing. Yay, people are doing well. Take your square. I'm going to kind of quiz you because after like 3 times, I think you're going to get the hang of it and you're going to have it memorized. So what do we do first? We fold into a rectangle. The reason why we folded into a rectangle was to get that center crease. And then does anyone know what comes next? We are going to fold the top towards the center and the bottom towards the center. So we're going to fold the rectangles towards the center and towards the center. And now we have a rectangle that has a slit right there in the center. Anyone know what comes next? Yes, fold them in half. We're going to take the rectangle and fold in half. And we're doing that just to make the center crease. This is the part you can mess up, but you're not going to mess up. You're going to take the top right corner and you're going to fold it down to the middle. You're going to take the bottom left corner and you're going to fold it up. Next step, when you open it, they pop out at your face and they tell you, hey, tuck me in. You're going to take those white triangles and you're going to fold them backwards. You're going to hide those triangles. And after you've tucked those white triangles, then you're going to tuck each one of the corners in as well. So take the top right corner and tuck it down. Take the bottom left corner and tuck it up. We have our parallelogram that's got a cross on the front. Flip it over. Take the long diagonal point and come down. Take the other long diagonal point and go up. And we have our third unit piece. Now you're a professional. Now you're cooking. So now we're going to do some fast folding. All right, we need 3 more. I'm going to fold the rectangle in half. I'm going to fold towards the center line. I'm going to fold the entire rectangle in half. I made a crease. And the reason why I made the crease was because I'm now going to take the top right corner and fold it down to the center. Bottom left corner, fold it up to the top. Pop it open. See those triangles hanging out? Tuck them backwards. Hide each one of those triangles. Now we're going to take the top right corner and tuck it in. Bottom left corner and tuck it in. Flip it over. Long diagonal comes down. Long diagonal comes up. And we have our 4th piece. Are you going as fast as I am? Yay. All right. Speed round. I'll race you. Ready? We're going to fold it in half. Open. Fold towards the center. Fold it in half to make a square. open. Top right corner comes down, bottom left corner goes up, open. Triangles, hide them. Push those triangles backwards. Tuck it. Top right, tuck it down. Bottom left, tuck it up. Flip. Ah, Autumn beat me. Diagonal down, diagonal up. Ta-da! 5. Last one. I'll tell you when to go. Don't start yet. We're gonna race for real. Not that I'm competitive at all. Ready, set, go. Don't forget to tuck those triangles. And Pat, I will slow down the last 2 folds, don't worry. All right. On the last 2 folds, I'm going to flip this over. Thank you for the time check. And this is what it looks like. So put it on your paper so that you have a straight line towards your belly on a flat table. And I want you to take this top right corner, and this right corner is going to come down to the center. So the top right corner is kind of bending the paper backwards and coming down towards that middle point. And I kept the paper the same, so this is still that flat edge that's facing my belly. I'm going to take this corner and it's going to go up here. So at the very end, you have a triangle that's kind of going up, and you have a triangle that's going down along that center seam. So hopefully that helped you. And there we have it. We have all 6 of our pieces. Line yours up, make sure that they all stack together. If they don't stack together, you probably messed up one of those. The last 2 might be sloppy because I was rushing you, so don't criticize yourself too much. As long as you fold it with us, then we have these 6 unit pieces that are all going to work really nicely and kind of going together. So when you have your pieces, I like to say that the crosses on the piece make these tiny little envelopes. So check out your piece, kind of investigate it. One side is totally flat. There's nowhere to add anything onto this side because it's all flat. When you come on this side, you have a little pocket here and you have a little pocket here. So those are the pockets that we're going to utilize when we start locking these together. So again, I'm going to throw a little bit of math terminology at you. Don't panic, but I'm going to make these 2 pieces perpendicular to each other, which means they're forming a 90-degree angle. So I'm going to take both of these are facing so that the cross is up. You're going to take this triangle and it's going to tuck into the little envelope on this piece. So if I lay it flat on the table, here's the little envelope. I'm taking this piece, and notice how they're in 2 different directions. And I'm taking the corner of this piece and I am tucking it in to kind of make this little triangle here, which I call half of a bow tie. So you can tell that this is like a bow tie right here, and I just filled in half of it. And yes, I can slow down a little bit. So here's the piece, here's the envelope. Remember that it's the cross side up. It slides into the envelope. Now, when I hold these in my hand, I'm going to be able to start telling like how they're going to fold. If you kind of like cup them in your hand, you can start to see how this cube is going to end up becoming a cube shape just from these 2 pieces. But what we're going to do next is I have the first piece, I have the second piece. I'm going to attach a 3rd piece into this envelope. Pat, I'll go through this completely again. So take your time folding all 6 and then I'll reassemble so that you can have a little bit of time to catch back up. So here's my third piece. And so it's going into the pocket. I have this piece, and this piece. And now when I start folding these up, you're always going to want to find bow ties. So here's half of a bow tie. And this one doesn't have any bow ties yet. So we're going to make a bow tie by taking this orange paper and sliding it into this pocket. This can be tricky at first, but we'll break this down a couple different ways so that we make sure that you know what I'm doing. So I took the orange piece of paper and interlocked it into the red one that's kind of coming across the top. And then here's half of a bow tie. We're going to put another piece of paper right here to finish the bow tie. So I'm going to take one of my other colors and I'm going to slide it in here to finish that bow tie. And then notice how this paper is kind of sticking up. And the reason why it's sticking up is because it needs to get tucked into my new piece. So they all interlock with each other. And that piece that I just folded over and tucked in here makes up half of the bow tie. So I'm going to take another color and tuck it in opposite that to make the rest of the bow tie. But then where does it go? Well, there's this red piece. I know, this part's confusing. There's this part over here that's missing part of a bow tie. So what's going to happen is this green piece is going to go in here, slide in here, and it finishes that bow tie. This red piece that's kind of flopping over, you're going to fold it back and fold it into the little envelope to make that part of the bow tie. And then we're at the very last piece where we're missing a bow tie here. We're missing a bow tie here. So the last piece is going to go over top of it, kind of like a basket handle. And it's going to lock into those two places. You got these little ears sticking out. And then these two last pieces are going to lock into the top. And you have your first cube. I'm going to take this apart and I'm going to show that part again because I know that that's confusing. Yeah, so if you have all the same colors, sometimes it's hard to tell your bow ties. I get that. All right, I'm going to rebuild. So I have my 6 pieces of paper, and hopefully you have your 6 pieces of paper too. And if you found that one of your pieces didn't fit in with the other ones, you might need to refold that one. Somebody said they did it. They don't know how they did it, but they did it. And that's what matters. Good work. Okay, here are my first 2 pieces. I'm always working on the side that has the envelopes up. I'm going to stick this piece into the first piece just like this. And instead of doing the 3 like I did last time, I'm just going to kind of show you a different way, see if this makes more sense. So hopefully you believe me that I just made a little half of a bow tie into this piece. So you know another piece needs to go right here to finish off that bow tie. So if I take another piece and slide it into that pocket, this one doesn't want to slide in. I gotta fix my green piece. I have something sticking out funny. There we go. So aren't interlocking like mine just did. You might have missed something. So I have these fit together. Here's my bow tie. So then I'm going to take the other piece and finish off that bow tie. So right now I have the piece going across this way and I have 2 pieces coming out of that and I've completed this bow tie. So this part is totally done. No more papers get added right here. I'm going to flip it and I'm going to show you when you kind of cup these together, you can kind of see how the cube is about to start forming. So kind of play with your paper and kind of cup it so that you can see what direction it's about to go. And on this yellow piece of paper or on one of the other pieces that you have, there are no bow ties. So we need to add bow ties to both of those. So I'm going to take one of the pieces and I'm going to slide it in here to make one of the bow ties. And when you slide it in, you're going to notice a paper is going to be overlapping with it. So you need to kind of pull this paper. This is a weird part, but you need to pull this paper back a little bit in order to tuck it in. And then this is half of a bow tie, and this is a half of a bow tie. So you're always looking around when you're holding your piece and trying to figure out how to finish these different bow ties. So if I'm trying to finish this bow tie, I need to stick something going this direction. So if I stick a piece going in this way, the piece already kind of wants to come down and around. So I'm going to take this orange piece. It might be hidden when you're kind of like holding on to it. So sometimes you need to grab that orange piece from underneath. Every piece you put in gets locked in by another color. So I just lock that in. I'm going to pull this one backwards and I'm going to lock it in. I'm going to pull this one backwards and lock it in. Kind of look around. And when I look around, I have almost the complete box, but I'm missing a bow tie here and I'm missing a bow tie here. So that tells me that my last piece is going to go across the top of the box and lock in here and lock in here to finish this bow tie and this bow tie. And then I need to lock in to finish this bow tie by pulling it backwards a little bit and pushing it into the envelope. And then across the top, I'm going to make my last bow tie by kind of pulling these. So this is a tricky part here, but kind of I'm pulling it, I'm almost curling it a little bit in order to get the tip of this piece to be able to go into this envelope right here and slide that in. And I'm kind of curling this and pulling it backwards in order to slide the tip of that into this envelope. And now I have my cube. So when you're making these cubes, they get a little bit rounded. So when I have my pieces all secured, I like to go back and make creases. And I'm just pinching along each one of these lines. And what this is doing is it's making all of these lines sharper and less rounded. So it's going to look even more like a cube. There we go. Yay. So this is my first modular origami box using 6 of the unit cells. If you take 12 of the unit cells, you can make this next piece, which is called an octahedron. So the reason why it's called an octahedron is because there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different points. So that's the octa. And the reason why I called it a stellated octahedron is because it's pointy. So the word stella means star. So if you want it something pointy or it has 8 different points, that's how you make the stellated octahedron. And then if you take the same modular piece, and I'm going to pull this apart just to show you, you know everything you need to know right now in order to make something even larger like this icosahedron. This is all made out of exactly that same modular piece we just learned. And it is the same idea of finding the bow ties and sliding the paper in to be able to find and complete that bow tie. Over here, I'm going to finish off this bow tie by sliding it in, pulling it backwards to finish this one. And this is hiding, so I got to untuck it. I will repeat the box, yes. And fold it in this way. So then this is made up of, I believe, 24 pieces of paper. So if you can do this, you can keep going. There are lots of butchers you fed on. There's a lot more coming. That's funny. We will redo the box, but I love that one piece of folding. So I just taught you that one piece of folding. We're all pretty much professionals now because we've done it 6 times. It's somewhere trapped in your muscle memory, and I bet I could remind you and you could quickly come up with it again. We took 6 pieces, we made the box. You can take 12 pieces, you can make an octahedron. and we can keep going from there. So I think to make this a little bit more clear, what I think is going to be a good idea is I'm going to use specific colors on purpose to be able to show you. So instead of doing 6 different colors, I'm going to take some of my other random pieces from different things and try to match colors and make it a little easier on you when I'm showing you how to put them together. So let me get one more piece somewhere. There we go. Okay, so I have 6 pieces again. They're all the same size. They all fit on top of each other. So I know that I folded them correctly. I have 2 reds, 2 dark blues, and 2 light blues. So I recommend, if you're struggling with putting the cube together, that if you have multiples of different colors, even if they're different shades, but they're the same colors, that might help you find the bow ties better, and that might be something that can kind of get you over the hump of putting this together. So I'm going to start by taking 2 different colors. So I'm going to take one of this color and one of this color. You find your little envelopes, and I'm going to slide the corner into the envelope. So far I've used 2 different colors. I'm going to use the 3rd color and go into this piece of red. And now I've used all 3 colors. Those 3 colors are going to help me decide where I put everything else. So when I kind of take this paper and kind of cup it in my hands, you can already kind of see how the cube is going to get shaped. So I know that this light blue needs to get tucked into this dark blue. So I'm going to pull it back and tuck it in. And that's the only thing that can get tucked in so far. So then this is why I chose 2 of each of the same colors. So see how this is a teal bow tie? I'm going to take the other teal piece of paper and I'm going to slide it in to complete that teal bow tie. Then I'm going to take this red piece that's kind of hanging out here, and I'm going to pull it back and lock in the teal. And by locking it in, I've created half of a red bow tie. So you probably guessed it, I'm going to take the red piece of paper and I'm going to slide it in to finish the other half of the red bow tie. Now, when I put that paper in, there's this blue one hanging out here. So this blue one needs to lock into my latest piece. And guess what? There's half of a red bow tie here, and there happens to be this red paper hanging out. So I'm just going to pull this backwards and lock it in to that envelope. And now I've completed this bow tie. So I think by using just these 3 colors instead of 6 different colors, the bow ties are a lot more visible, what I've been talking about. So right here, I'm missing a dark blue. And right here, I'm missing a dark blue. So we're going to take the last dark blue piece and slide it in to finish that bow tie. And slide it in over here to finish this bow tie. Finish this bow tie. Finish this bow tie. I have these 2 pieces, kind of like ears. And this last piece needs a bow tie on it. So I'm going to pull these backwards and slide it in, and pull this backwards and slide it in. And then this time you can kind of fold it and you can see all the different bow ties on each of the different sides. So sometimes using 3 different colors and using 2 of each one can really help you. Looks like we have some people lost on that 3rd piece. So let me see if I can help you with that part. So I think you're okay with putting the first 2 together. And now, I don't know, Autumn and GT, you're going to have to tell me if this helps or not. I'm going to try it this way, and if this doesn't work, we can try it another way. But when I have these pieces, can you start making them into a cube? Can you kind of cup them together? Make sure that the envelope part is on the outside. So when you cup them together, make sure that all the envelopes are on the outside. And when you cup it together, you know that to make a cube, you need something else to come over here So I'm going to take one of my colors and I'm going to slide it into this envelope. And whenever you're sliding it in, you're sliding it in at that different angle, at the 90-degree angle. And every time you slide a piece in, something needs to lock into it. So this piece from the very, very beginning is what's going to lock into my brand new piece. And when I kind of rotate this around, there's nothing else for my other pieces to lock into yet. So I'm as far as I can go with these 3 pieces. So for the 3 pieces, you have where you start, you put one in, and then you put in the third one, and you lock in the only things you can to make half bow ties. I hope that that helps a little bit. So then there's nothing else that can get locked in yet. I'm as far as I can go with these 3 pieces. So then I'm going to look for something that's missing a bow tie. So this is missing half of a bow tie, and that's where I'm going to take my next piece and I'm going to slide it in to finish off that bow tie. And when I slide it in, something needs to lock into the new piece. So in this case, it's this light blue needs to lock into this red. So I'm going to kind of pull this piece backwards a little bit, and I'm kind of holding on to the other stuff with my hand so that it doesn't completely fall apart on me. And I'm going to slide that in to that envelope. And then there's nothing else that I can lock in yet, but I do see that I have half of a bow tie here. So I'm going to take another piece of paper to finish off that bow tie. And when I have this piece, it needs to get locked in. And it also kind of wraps around to find the other side of that bow tie. And with those colors, if you do 2 of 3 different colors, it's really going to help you find the bow ties a lot easier. And now I'm at my very last step where I am missing half of a bow tie here and half of a bow tie here. So that means that my last piece is going to go across the top. And it's going to go into each one of those pieces to complete those bow ties. And these last 2 pieces are going to kind of pull back and lock in and pull back and lock in. And we have our cube. So if you were able to make your cube, and if you're proud of it and you want to show it off, you can tag us. Yay! You can tag us at Learn with Michaels, and you can show off your origami cube. Also, maybe try some of the different size paper that's in the pack. Try folding 6 of the smaller ones to make a smaller box. I want to see some of those boxes inside of boxes inside of boxes. Take the largest paper, make some boxes out of that. Yay, you did it. Good job, everybody. Yay. I'm so proud. So yeah, please share this on Learn with Michaels. You can share your origami journey. If you struggled with this box, you might want to go back and try my other class on the paper crane. I do think the paper crane is easier than the box, but once you get the hang of folding those unit pieces, like I said, there's lots of different ways to put them together. So on this one, we made obviously a cube, but when you take more of the pieces together, you're just going to start attaching when you're making something like the octahedron. Yay, you nailed the crane. When you're doing this pieces of putting the 3 together, they end up kind of interlocking with each other to make these points. And if you are interested in the octahedron or the icosahedron and you'd like a little bit more of a tutorial on that, I'd be happy to kind of make some videos of that if that's something that anybody is interested in. But you are going to put 3 pieces of paper together to make each one of these points on the octahedron. And obviously you need to do that 8 different times, combining those 3 points together. There's also another shape that we can make with these unit pieces and just using 3 of them. So if you attach just 3 together and just keep tucking them into each other, you can also make kind of like a tetrahedron sort of shape. That's kind of fun. So I just took those 3 pieces and kind of attach them together to make, it's almost like a little spinning top kind of situation. But there's lots of different fun things that you can do with this modular origami. Now, I was telling Rich before class that I used to teach middle school and high school math, and I would teach a lot of origami, especially when it comes to the geometric um, polygons, polyhedron, different shapes and things like that, just to make it more fun. There's also cross-curricular projects where we were talking about how, and we talked about this in the crane class too, that there's a book you can read about the 1,000 Cranes projects, and then you can have a math project that also goes along with that. So all of those are fun. And Richard, it looks like Rich can throw in the link for the crane video. So yeah, it's available on the Michaels YouTube channel. The class from today is also going to be available on the Michaels YouTube channel, probably starting tomorrow. So you can come back and see that too. And then we do have the written directions for this cube. So I really think if you struggled at all, or if you need a refresher about how to make that unit piece, you can go back and kind of look at the pictures until the video gets up on tomorrow. And again, I would love to see what you're making. So feel free to tag me. Feel free to use different papers. Feel free to do all kinds of fun things. So I'm just going to take this moment to say goodbye to everyone. See if there's any
Megan,
last questions. Yes, Rich.
maybe we can get a few folks to show off their cubes.
Yes,
I can
please.
I can spotlight them.
If anyone
Deb,
wants to show, if anyone wants to show off, or if you want to take a picture and throw it in the chat, I mean, you're welcome to do that too. But yes, you should be very proud of yourself with all of your new origami skills. You will become obsessed with this. Yay, I see some. Yes. Ooh, good paper choice, Mindy. Yes, Amy, those are perfect. Yay. That's so fun. I'm so glad you're able to pick it up. If you're still frustrated or if you're still struggling, try and look at those written directions, see if that can help you too. And I'm so glad that you joined me. I hope that you come back tomorrow. My class will be, what will my class be tomorrow? Oh, embroidery. February is embroidery month. And so tomorrow I'll be teaching an embroidery sampler class. So if you have any interest in kind of learning some new stitches and kind of dipping back into embroidery, I'd love to see you. Even if you know how to embroider already, just come and join us. We have lots of fun, lots of communities. So hope to see some of you tomorrow. And if not, maybe I'll see you again next week. Bye, everyone. Thanks for coming.